The years leading up to and during menopause are a rite of passage. The wise woman inside of us is calling to slow down, to take stock, to speak our truth, to burn away all that no longer serves us, ready for our next cycle of life. The good news is, with the support, community, connection, and most of all, sharing our stories and being truly seen and heard, we will travel through this powerful, sometimes painful, heroine's journey and out the other side. Welcome to the Menopause Podcast, real and raw stories of midlife and mental health. I'm your host, Kylie Patchett, menopause self-care coach and storyteller, and I am so glad you found us. Let's get on with the show. Hello and welcome everybody to another edition of the podcast. Today I'm talking to the beautiful Lisa Walker from Air Women. Didn't get it quite right, Lisa. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
So am I. I've been looking forward to this chat. I've been reading through your all of your products and things, and I'm like, oh, let's just dive in here. So for those people who don't know you already, do you want to just introduce yourself and what you do in the world, please?
Yeah, sure. I'm Lisa Walker. So I'm the co-founder of Air Women. So we are a supplements brand for women over 40. So we launched February this year, but my background is very varied, lots of advertising, PR, media, pharmaceutical, imagery. I was a yoga teacher for 10 years. So I feel like everything I've done got me to this point.
Isn't that always the way, isn't it? It's like this long winding road that makes no sense at the time. And then you look back and go, oh, it does make sense.
Total sense.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I love that the Steve Jobs quote about, it's only backwards that you see how the dots all connect. Yeah. I kind of feel the same. I'm like, I don't know, I've had so many weird and wonderful adventures and now it's all been brought together.
Yeah, definitely.
We were connected through Tori Archbold, who has been on the show earlier.
Yeah.
And it's funny because we're just saying before we started recording, once I was introduced through Tori, then I actually heard about you in multiple ways, which is very, very cool. I like the universe connects people. Can you talk to us when you first filled out the form? I said, can you talk about whatever the midlife metamorphosis was? And you had quite a challenging, pivotal moment. Mm-hmm. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I'll just take a deep breath.
Yeah, I know. I feel like I need to too. I'm a crier. Let's just put it out there.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. It's really bad. But good. I mean, it's good. You get those emotions out. Don't hold them back.
No.
Yeah. So look, my business partner and I, Kate, we started working on Air in lockdown. So, for quite a few years before we launched, because it takes a long time. But for me, the pivotal moment was January 22. So, we've just got through COVID. We're just getting our lives back to normal. Mm-hmm. And then my husband passed away. So it was very sudden, unexpected. And, you're just kind of thrown into a whole world of stuff. I won't start swearing because it's pretty.
No, swear away.
It's just a whole big pile of dog shit.
Yeah.
I've got two young boys, and it's just. I mean, look, you're a mum. You get on with it. My biggest thing when people say, how did all of this happen? You just get on with it. You have to. So. I was very fortunate that at the time I could take some time off work. The company I was working for at the time were really supportive. My boss was amazing. It could have been, completely different. Yeah. So I took some time off and then I just focused on work. But, it got to a critical point where I thought, well, number one, I had this business going on in the background, which I knew I was going to launch, or that we were going to launch at some point.
Yeah.
But also I was juggling kids, grief, lawyers, family,
all that
friends.
work.
And I could go down a rabbit hole on the legal, the joys of dealing with a death in the family. But and we were also selling a company at the time. So there was just a lot going on. So I just made that decision to quit, focus on myself and my own healing, focus on my two boys, figure out how we wanted to live the rest of our lives, really.
Yeah.
Because you're on that wheel. You're always on that wheel.
Yeah.
So I took the year off and really focused on air, and I needed that for me. And what was amazing about air is because our purpose is to help women and help women feel better, it just allowed me to get up every day and be excited. And I'm a real creative. So having that creativity, you know, get out, get the boys to school, get outside, do the work on my own health and my own mental health, so physical and mental, but then be totally focused on this business and getting it to market was the best way to heal myself. And I'm just so proud of, you know, what we achieved in that process.
I didn't realize that. That's, and I didn't actually realize how recently your husband passed away. So thank you for being brave and willing to go there when it's so fresh. I have a friend in Canberra who also lost her husband unexpectedly, and she still is dealing with the paperwork. You know, 8 years on, she's getting her son a passport. What do you say about the parent on the passport? Do you like? There's just a never-ending, like smack in the faceness of like, oh, okay, how does this work? Or do I have to explain to someone else? Or blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And
people just ask the question, and they don't, you know, people don't mean anything. But it was like I just took my boys overseas not long ago, but as part of that process, I'm like, oh, I need to pack, you know, with all of our documents, a death certificate, because it's just, you think, you know, I'm leaving the country with kids, and you just never know if they're going to ask you, are you allowed to take your children out of the country? And I was in the bank last week and depositing a check that was addressed to both of us, and you know, this poor son, you know, well, we need your husband's signature on that, and I'm just like, well, I'd love to, but he's dead. So
and then you have to deal with the reaction of people
and I was
going,
like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it to come across like that. But, you know, I've just been in this branch so many times. We've been through all of this. You've got every little thing. You shouldn't be asking me these questions.
No.
But so it's sometimes I just feel like I need to take a breath.
Enormous. Yeah. Enormous. When something like this happens and it's unexpected, I always try and put myself in somewhere, which of course I cannot because I've not been through this, but I imagine that in your mind you have, this is what the future looks like, or this is what we might do, and this is, you know, as the kids grow up, these are the things we will do as a family. What happens to your sense of, I don't know, self and future kind of anchoring when something that enormous happens? And
well, look, I think I was pretty clear on what I wanted. I think that the hardest part, and, you know, I made some really big life changes. So not only the business and changing my career path, but I moved the boys, and we moved to a completely different part of Sydney. I moved the boys to a new school this year. And I made some really big changes that I just felt were right for all of us. And they've absolutely been the right changes. But the hardest part of that was the judgment from everyone else around you, because I don't know, it's grieving. And I think part of grief, and we could just go down a rabbit hole here, but you know, it's judgment of myself. So I was just in that focus. Let's just get on with it. Let's do what I need to do. But then you've got people, you know, am I sad enough in front of these people? Should I be saying these? You know, it's every little element is, I don't know, am I processing grief the right way? Because people do, you know, they don't see you when you're in the dark holes, because you try and keep that private, but then you go out and openly try and be a happy person, particularly
and you judge for kids.
And then you feel like, and you might not be, but you feel like you're being judged. And then there are also other people that surprised me because they couldn't be around me because, you know, people I needed the support from I was then a reminder of my husband. So there's a lot of people who I just felt like, oh, wow, I expected a little bit more. But I think, overall, you learn a lot about people. And I think I can sit in my emotions and I can sit and process. And, I think I had the tool because I taught yoga for so many years. I feel like I had a lot of those tools inside me to help process.
Yeah.
And what I've realized is other people don't have those tools, but I spend a lot of time watching my reactions and watching other people's reactions and then trying to take that ego and judgment, everything going on around me, if that makes sense.
Journey. Yeah, it does. I'm actually in the middle of working with a lady who's a healer, and one of the things that she is talking about with the work that we're doing is that we have these doorways of destiny, and often they come in these awful, shocking / traumatic / unexpected twists and turns. And the way that she talks about, I don't know why I've got my sexy 1-800 voice on this morning. Sorry, Lisa. One of the things that she talks about, though, is that each one of these doorways to destiny is a call to become more connected to yourself, your truth internally, and less connected to the voice of the ego and the judgment and the layers of what everyone else externally is sort of seeing, doing, and reacting. And I think that's so true. I've found that in my own experience as well. But it sounds like for you, this was also, it gave you a clarity, and having the purpose of air, having already started, gave you something to kind of I don't know whether, is it the right word, anchor, or something to, like a reason to be enthused and connected to something outside of dealing with.
I think there's so many layers. So I think a big part of it is, yes, it was a surprise, and I'm not going to go into detail, but it wasn't as much of a surprise to me as it was to other people.
Right.
So I had a low-level anxiety for many years about what my
Right.
So in many ways, my worst fears came true. But to add another layer, I think there's a big part of then being in your 40s and getting to a point where you're comfortable enough in yourself to not give a shit what other people think.
Yeah.
So you've got all of these other layers coming on. So if this had happened in my 30s, I probably would handle it really differently.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there is that element of, right, I'm in my 40s. I don't care what people think about me anymore. This has happened to my family. Therefore, this is the number one, is my family.
Yeah.
Number two is, yes, I've got this amazing purpose that I wanted to find. And so a big part of what I love to talk about now is air, and I love air. But it's also about midlife health and finding your new purpose for the second half of your life, because that, providing that mental health moving forward into the rest of your life, is so important. So that's why I think, all of this, yes, it's a big pile of shit, but at the same time, it's all hit at this time where it's this crossroad, and I've found exactly where I need to be.
Yeah. It's perfect.
And I'm really forthright in how I feel about helping women find that as well.
Yeah, so good. I think there's a lot of women out there who, similar to me, like I've always had pretty good health. My filter of getting older is my dad, who, died at 91, having still been driving a car and walking, kilometers in a day and all of those things. And then I got to 47, and all of a sudden, this big natural, vital sort of get up and go-ness in me kind of started, and a whole heap of little bits and pieces have started showing up. And I have been so clear in my own understanding that this is a fork in the road where you can either step up your self-care and your mental, physical, emotional, spiritual tending to yourself, and drastically influence the trajectory of the second half of your life, or you can go in the other direction. So you're speaking my language, because I feel like I'm being called to, it's like, okay, hang on a minute, this is not a sustainable habit, or, something's showing up. I've got a genetic joint condition, but I didn't even know I had it until estrogen started dropping, and because collagen and estrogen play, it's made it a lot worse. And I'm like, aha. So I feel like I'm at that crossroads as well, of like calling to arms of like, are you going to step it up? Yeah. Or are you going to go, oh, I'm going to follow this old, tired sort of like, oh, the older we get, the worse our health gets, the more tired we get. And it's just like, whoa, hang on. That's not the story that I want to be creating. So thank heavens for people like you that jump in and go, okay, here's a different path.
Well, and it's also because like I feel I'm finding myself again. So I think, in our late 30s, early 40s, if you've got children, like you're really in the thick of it, it's hard to carve out that time. But at the same time, that's when your adrenal system's really struggling. So you've got to take the time, and this is what I'm, really big advocate of is, God, I'm 49 now. So if I knew at 41 what I know now, I probably would have done things so much differently. But I love that the conversation is happening now. Like I feel like at least this is starting to happen. So I don't know. It's just you've got to, and I guess where I was going is as you get older into your later 40s, your kids are growing up a little bit. So you can start to take time out for yourself a little bit more. And that's really hard when you've got, 2 and 4 year olds. But as they get older, you can leave your kids at home and go for a walk. You can, they understand that, okay, I need 10 minutes to sit outside by myself
and just breathe.
Sit in the car, which is what I always used to do.
Yes, me too.
So, you've got to just take those little moments, and they might only be little moments. You don't have to, I am a huge advocate for yoga, but sometimes taking 2 hours out of your day to get to a class, do an hour and a half, and then come home is not possible.
Mm-hmm.
But, I'll sit out on my balcony as soon as I wake up in the morning, even with my coffee, sometimes not, and just listen to a meditation.
Yeah.
And that might be 5 minutes. It might be 20 minutes. It's the process of doing it, and it's setting you up for the day, no matter how short that is. So I have my rituals, and something will work for everybody, and you just have to find your ritual that works for you.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think when holistic health and self-care was first having its huge heyday, I think we ripped women off by focusing on big things like going to a whole yoga class or taking time out to go to a day spa or whatever. All of those things are delicious, but introducing those little tiny snacks of self-care, and even just closing your eyes and going, whew, okay, this is the first time that I've actually been in my body, because I find myself very much, neck up, particularly if I'm working and really focused on a project that's taking a lot of my, juice and attention. Just being able to go, oh, look, there's a beautiful day out there. I might just sit out there for 5 minutes and breathe. It makes such a big difference. And I have had just a ridiculously busy time with my daughter. Youngest turned 18, had heaps of family here, footy grand finals, like just, one of those just full. And I'm like, my brain is fully fried at the moment. And I'm just like, okay, what do you need this morning? You need to actually just sit and breathe and not think about the next thing. Just be very present. Like, perfect timing for our conversation. So when you think back to the pathway of your life, how did you, where did the idea come from for AIR? And I know that you've got a co-founder as well. So, and you used to work together in marketing. Yeah. So, and you talk about on your website, working alongside a woman who's kind of a similar age, juggling all of the things that we do, particularly in our 30s and sort of early 40s. Where did the idea come from in the first place?
It's really, it felt so organic at the time. So I always knew I wanted to do something, for myself, but we were in lockdown, and Kate and I, we were lucky. We lived within 5 kilometers of each other.
Oh, cool.
So we just went out walking,
Yep.
10-kilometer walks, and, we'd worked together for a long time, and then we'd actually both left our jobs at that point.
Yeah.
But actually, number one, it cemented our friendship.
Yes.
Because we spent so many hours together.
Mm-hmm.
But because we talked about everything, sometimes it was with a coffee, sometimes it was with a margarita, coffee cup. So it looked like
No.
But, so we did a lot of hours together, and we talked about everything, everything that was going on. Kate was by my side, throughout COVID, and then after Ben passed away. But at the time, we just kept coming back to, holy shit, what's going on? How do we feel? And, we talked about then how our friends are feeling. We all felt like we were drowning under this mental load.
Yes.
We were, just slowly gaining a little bit of weight, no matter what we did, exercising even more than we'd ever done.
Yep.
Really healthy. You talked about the rage, that was going on. And then, we talked, but then, at the same time, we were having conversations with our friends about the same things. And we kept coming back to think there's got to be something that we can do.
Yeah.
And then we researched all the products that were out there, all of the ingredients. And we just thought, God, this is just shit. So, the best products, and I still firmly believe there's so many different ways through your 40s and into perimenopause. Our way is one of them. And there are a lot of supplements out there, and some of them are really good and some of them really work. But did they talk to us? No. They were, the big brands want you to buy 20 different products because they make a lot of money.
Correct.
Then there are some other good ones, but they're naming, I'm reluctant to throw one under the bus, but the naming conventions are just so full of fear mongering for women. Yeah. And that's just not who we are. And they're clearly not made by women and not made by women our age. So, and I've got a beauty background as well. So what we really wanted was something that spoke to us. Number one was efficacious. They had to work.
Yes.
So we worked with a naturopath and nutritionist. So we don't have any more than 10 ingredients because our number one was they had to work.
Yes.
So they had to have clinical doses, every ingredient, so that every ingredient worked really hard. There's a lot of brands who just put a little smidge of something in so they can make a marketing claim.
Yep. And a whole heap of fillers that stop you absorbing anything anyway.
Yeah. And then we wanted the product names to make us good and positive, and talked about the outcome, not not the challenge.
Yeah.
We wanted something that you'd be happy to leave out. So that it had to look good, had to, our key products show up, which we just love the name. It helps you show up for everything that's important to you. But equally, it balances hormones, but you can take it to work and leave it on your desk and it still looks amazing.
Yeah.
And you're not going to hide it. So the best supplement you can take is one you're going to remember to take every day.
Yep.
You're not going to do that if it's called Calm or hormones and you're hiding it away from everyone that you might see. So that was number one. They had to work. They had to make us feel good, and they had to be something that women were proud of.
Yeah.
And that's where we came from, and also simplify. So we just wanted one supplement for the morning, one for night that easily fits within your beauty regime.
Yes.
And then the way we're building around that is boosters, which we say, if you need a retinol for your skin, then it's the same kind of thing. So with Zipped, if you're looking for something to boost metabolism, we've got a product for that.
Yeah.
And then that will happen as we roll out new products as well. So we're still anchored by two key products.
Yeah.
Work together really well. But then you've got these booster products, which are just what you need personally.
Yeah. I just love, when we first booked this interview, I'd been on your website anyway, but just reacquainting myself this morning, I'm just like, you've done such a beautiful job of positively framing, and the packaging is gorgeous. And I'm like, oh my goodness, that looks like a high-end beauty brand, beautiful, luxury mask or something. That's the vibe that I get. So I'm like, yeah, you can tell these girls have been in marketing and communication.
It's experiential too, right? Our box is beautiful, and I've got them behind me. And
yes,
the beautiful black glass bottles, but then the tablets are the same color as the carton.
Are they?
So they're beautiful colors. They just look, and even when we go, you can go traveling, you can just throw them all in the same bag.
Yes.
Because they're all different colors. And it's all about simplicity, because, I don't know about you, but I don't have time to think about it. I don't want, and I'm blind. I take my glasses off.
Yeah, me too.
Can't see a thing.
I'm so blind.
I don't want to be trying to work out what pill does what. I just want to make it easy, set and forget, move on with the rest of my day. So that's how we've just thought about the whole process around the brand. And then the other bit we love is it allows us to talk about what we want and what women want, and to bring positive talk to hormonal changes in your 40s and just living your life in your 40s. And that's, so much as fear mongering. And, if I can get one thing out of my whole life that I'll be proud of, it's for women to stop apologizing for their hormones.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Because I'm bloody well sick of it.
Oh, I was just having a conversation.
We always have hormones. Men have hormones. Hormones run our life. We just need to stop apologizing. Because it's a superpower.
Yeah, exactly. I was just having a kind of pre-podcast chat with a lady who is a psychotherapist and counselor, and she was talking about how the negative patriarchal view of women and their hormones and hysteria, like any kind of female weakness in inverted commas was seen as like hormonally driven. It was hysteria, it was wrong, it was whatever. It's like, if you actually just listened to all the messages that these beautiful hormones were bringing you, they're the key to. And I've studied a lot of traditional Chinese medicine, and same thing. It's like we have cycles in our lives. This is just another transition point, but there's a purpose. And I totally agree. We need to be positively reframing, and yes, being real about some of the things that can be destabilizing or discombobulating or whatever, but also being like, this is an exciting time where, we do get, my girls have just turned 18 and 19. So I feel like I'm on this cusp of this huge, like all of a sudden the hands-on parenting is not there. They're not even in my house anymore. And I'm just like, all this space to sort of reconnect to who I am and what I want, and, what my values are, because, that rearing and protecting of the young takes up so much emotional bandwidth. And I was having a chat with a friend the other day. She's pregnant with her second, and I was sitting having a coffee and a beautiful breakfast underneath a tree, doing a little bit of work on my laptop, and she is literally running crazy around this 2-year-old in this like playground part of the cafe. And I thought, we just don't realize how insanely demanding those years are, I think, until we're at the other end of things or looking at someone else doing it. And I just think, hey, gorgeous, we interrupt this gold for a delicious invitation. If your whole body has been whispering more lately, more voice, more truth, more satisfaction, more clients of the soulmate variety, more cash, more you, then this invitation is for you. Potent, my sister mind is officially open. This is my high touch, holy fuck, I'm ready sister mind for rebels in good girl clothing who are done outsourcing their power and diluting their magic to fit into someone else's business formula. If you have been craving a space where your strategy, your voice, and your energy all get to be offered, honored, refined, and amplified, this is it. Inside of Potent, you'll get my eyes on your business every single week, copy mentoring, and that is for brand copy and content storytelling that turns your truth into client catnip, energetic recalibration that helps you unhook old learned limitation patterns, keeping you quiet, not being seen, not being heard, real-time, high-touch, one-on-one coaching that actually sees the bigness of your vision, and the kind of sisterhood that does not flinch when you show up in your full, messy, brilliant, phoenix rising from the ashes glory. This isn't surface level support. It's deep, potent, paradigm shifting work that changes who you are as a woman in business and a woman in life. We start in August. Early open access is open right now. For the month of June 2025, inside of this early access open doors period, you will receive juicy bonuses, extended payment plans, and access immediately to my entire library of storytelling gold. You'll find all the juicy details at kyliePatchett.com/potent. And we fill spaces, and there's only 10 of them, and more than likely only 5 by the time you listen to this, because by that time I will have offered them to the existing cohort, the beautiful original OG circle. We do actually take applications on a first come, first served basis. So come and apply, and let's get back to the magic of the episode. How did we even...
Well, I have 2 boys, so that has not changed.
All right, man.
9 and 10 and 13. And they still just wrestle. That's all they do.
Yep.
So they wrestle for fun or to kill each other. Somewhere in between is a happy medium.
Yeah.
But, even when I just went away and I did a whole reel of just, my friends, we were exhausted. I'm like, but this is my life. I just have to turn my back and watch, because otherwise it stresses me out. But it's just boys, 2 boys, it's like 10 puppies together. You just have to let them go.
Yeah. Just be who they are. I think that's, otherwise we can exhaust ourselves. I'm interested. I was reading a book just recently, and one of the things that the person said, she's a psychiatrist, one of the things that she said was estrogen is the hormone of accommodation. And I was like, whew, that makes a lot of sense for a lot of things. What do you, because you mentioned before, like in your late 40s, it's like, I know who I am. This is what I need to do. I don't really care whether people like it or whatever. What else has shifted for you in your own midlife transition from kind of the, doing things because you believe you should, or has that never been an issue for you? Because there is some people that never do that.
It's always been an issue.
Yeah.
I think your 30s, I think, is the hardest decade to get through. There's just so much societal pressure on everything and that you put on yourself. So I think being in your 40s is just completely freeing. It's the best time. Yeah.
What patterns do you see in the community that you're growing around Air, where people are like, when they're meeting and they're having those conversations, or even in your friends group?
Yeah.
I feel like my group of friends is kind of, we're just figuring out that this is a really good thing, like a really powerful, magnetic, juicy time of our lives. And I feel like it's like some secret that no one's let us in on.
I know. Well, the whole thing is like, now, okay, right, I've got this big list of things I want to do. Like, Kate and I are both going to start pole dancing. So I'm like,
exciting.
I would do that. And, there's just so many things. And I'm like, let's just bloody give it a go.
Yeah.
And I think for me, and I've always been, big on exercise and fitness. And, but now I just want to do things that challenge my brain a bit. I want to be physical, but challenge my thinking or challenge the way I've done things in the past.
Yeah.
And I think that's really freeing.
Yeah.
Because part of it is that I don't care what people think anymore. But as far as conversations, yes, it's absolutely happening. And I'm just excited that those conversations happen. And who would have, I never would have thought that 3 years ago that now I'd be talking to friends about which vibrators we own.
Yes.
That's awesome.
It's so good. I think,
and sexual health and talking about that, it's really important. And I think if anything, most of the women I know now, and even conversations through the community with Ed, but also with our friends, is that those conversations have got a million times more honest.
Yes.
Than they were. And even with some male friends as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I posted something on LinkedIn a while ago about and just saying that I had a conversation with a friend.
Yes.
And, you know, she's really excited because she's been taking them and she's interested in sex again.
Yeah.
I didn't say who it was, but then her husband me. And he's like, nice post on LinkedIn. And then I'm like, well, you're not meant to, like, oh, how do you know it's you? And then another male friend also messaged me saying, hey, I really like what you wrote. And I felt like saying, okay, so go out and buy them for your wife.
Exactly.
You're doing yourself a favor.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think, you know, those conversations too are great because it's, you know, I think you get to, if things feel so buried and hidden for so long, and the fact that everyone feels this freedom now, male and female, to talk about it a little bit more is mind-blowing. It's great.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I've always had a strong like status quo challenging or rebel part of me anyway, but I feel like all the conversations that we're having about menopause, it's like it's not the last thing, but it's one of the final taboo things that, you know, we broke through the period thing. We broke through, you know, sexual complete ridiculous or traumatic behavior with Me Too. Like all of those, like so many things have been called out. And it's like now we're at this last frontier of like, let's talk about all of the things that happen in midlife, and let's talk about, you know, that you don't have to have a decline in your sex drive if you want to. I mean, some people are like, yeah, I'm good. I'm done. I don't really care. But having these conversations at least opens the field of possibilities for people, because it's like we may just be thinking, oh, this is just what happens. And I don't think it's helped by the fact that a lot of doctors are not very well versed, informed, particularly not about holistic solutions or lifestyle influence factors.
Yeah. And I think that's probably the hardest one, is how do you have those conversations? And it's not, you know, a lot of doctors aren't really across it.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I think it's starting to, I think that because those conversations are happening, you know, there's definitely, you know, some women's health specialists that are more interested in it.
Yes.
You know, we have our naturopath and nutritionist, and she was the one who started talking to us about vaginal atrophy. And the worst word.
I know. It's awful, isn't it?
But she was the one who was like, you've got to use it or lose it. Yeah. And I'm like, right, what do I need to go on? Because, you know, obviously I'm on my own now.
Yeah.
What do I need?
Yeah.
I'm not out really dating.
Yeah.
So, okay, we need to.
How do I address this? Yeah, exactly. And I did an interview, probably about 6 months ago with Dr. Ginny Mansberg, who, you know.
She's great.
Yeah. And she's just like, I don't care whether you're on HRT or not, but you've just got to be understanding that once you lose that vaginal, you know, juiciness, it's not coming back. Like, you need to
that's
intervene.
Exactly right.
Yeah. And that was the first time that I didn't realize that, you know, it's kind of like, God, the word in my head is like lost cause. That's not what I want to say. But what I mean is it's not reversible. Like if you allow the atrophy to happen, and quite apart from all of the sexual function stuff, like the genital itching or needing to wee all the time or UTIs or whatever. That can come from that. It's like no one needs to be living like that. That is not a comfortable place to be living.
But then that's why we need to talk about it, because you wouldn't know.
Oh, I didn't. And I'm like, you know, I always think, I mean, it's a long time since I've been a practicing biologist, but I'm like, I'm a biologist, and peri-menopause was like, whack. What is this? I wasn't expecting this. I just thought my periods would stop one day. And now I'm like, I was so
they just would.
Yeah, I know, right? Wouldn't that be like, and the end, little pink button, you just push it.
That button.
Off you go.
Now. Yeah.
I'm interested, when you started working with the naturopath and the nutritionist, what was the because obviously it's a huge thing to start, a supplement. It's like, where do you even start with the process? Did you just start with the key things that you and your circle and the people that you were connected to were experiencing? Or the scientist in me wants to know about the formula.
I mean, I've got a biology degree as well. So
cool.
Christ, full circle. And my mum is a naturopath. And Kate's dad was a GP. So we'd always been.
Yes. Yeah.
The first thing, so Kate and I did a lot of research. So, and I was really lucky. My family and I, we owned a media company. So I had access to doing a lot of surveys and research out there. So we started with that because at the time we were talking about peri-menopause.
Yes.
But what we figured out through all of this surveying of about 4,000 women was the number one thing. First of all, people think that peri-menopause is when going through menopause is the really hard, fast, identifiable symptoms, hot flashes, night sweats.
Yep.
So when we did our research and we focused on, every really 35 to 55, but a focus on around 45. Mm-hmm. The number one things that women were interested in, had challenges with energy, sleep, metabolism.
Yep.
What they don't realize is that most of that is caused by, number one, your busy life, so your adrenal system, but it is then impacting hormones. So that's why our focus is all, we talk about us being really supportive of your adrenal system.
Yes.
Because that's our number one is stress, and all of our products have got ingredients that help with stress.
So good.
So that's what even in our world, we talk about that holistic body and looking after your body. It's not, yes, hormones play a big part of it, but it's everything else that's going on in your life.
100%. Yeah. All the patterns that you've been doing when you have unending energy.
Yeah.
Or perfectionism or trying to, sorry.
No. So then we had these three kind of really big core pillars. And then so menopause symptoms was literally number 10 on the list of what women were worried about. And we thought, wow, this is interesting. So it's either that menopause symptoms aren't identified by women or there's just bigger things at play. So then we really focused on those pillars. It's energy, brain fog, hormonal, which is really show up. Then it's sleep, getting to sleep, but also staying asleep.
That was something that was huge for me. Yeah. And I'm an ex-sleep scientist and I'm like, I'm doing everything I should.
Yeah. And again, it's very linked to stress. And then so what we put in with that one as well is about muscle health, because part of it is we're exercising so much, but if you can also calm those muscles down, I've always had restless legs, so that was something we spoke about as well.
Yeah.
And then of course we couldn't do anything without metabolism, because number one, I don't know any woman in the history of women who is, not thinking about their metabolism or bloating. Yeah. It's not about weight loss. It's just about making yourself helping feel a bit lighter, So it's bloating, it's digestion, it's metabolism.
Yeah.
So that's where we got to those pillars. And then we found our naturopath and nutritionist, Kristen Beck, who she's amazing. She teaches nutrition as well. She is late 40s as well, so she knew exactly where we were coming from with the range, has a lot of experience in, this realm. So we worked with her really closely on then what we needed to do with the formulations.
Wow.
And ideally what we put into each formulation. And of course, it needed a little bit of tweaking. And then we worked with another regulatory specialist who's also a naturopath.
Gotcha.
Who has access to, this is the new ingredients coming in and they play better together in a supplement.
Yeah, right.
So that's kind of how we got there. It's a full group.
So cool. What a journey.
Fun though.
It must feel very satisfying to have gone through all of those things. And I so appreciate that you started by asking women, not just because, as you said before, I can't help but think when you go to, massive big discount chemist and you've got all those supplements there, the labeling's awful. But like you said, they're very like, stop being a bitchy, moody person, do like very alarmist and negatively, I don't know, positioned, I guess,
It
is the way. But
it's all anchored in fear. It's like I've got a friend who just moved on to ours, but she was using another brand. And she's like, I'm too scared to go off it. And I'm like, but, off that, she's just to switch to a different brand, like to ours.
Okay.
And but again, it's because all of their messaging is all anchored in fear and taking also. But it shows how much we're going to become reliant on what they're taking, which is good because that means they were. But she has switched and she's like, perfect, this is even better. Love it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the other really phenomenal part of what we're doing is just the reviews that we're getting. And, we're being really slow. We're not, obviously we're trying to do everything organically. We want everything to be real and authentic. But, I think out of all of our reviews, I've got 1 4-star review. Everything else is 5 stars.
Yeah, I've been looking. I'm like, whoa, it's like crazy good testimonials. It's so good.
Yeah. And that, if anything, I'm like, oh, wow, that's, it just makes you feel really good because they're real.
So good. So good. Why I'm interested, why have you decided to, it sounds like you're wanting to do a more slow, organic, sustainable way of launching rather than the big, obviously, I don't know, but I'm imagining it takes an enormous amount of money to do a huge, big launch as well. So obviously that might be part of the reason. But was that a conscious decision by you guys just to do it in a more gentle way and approach things differently?
It's definitely a bit of a groundswell. So we did launch and we put money behind it, but we've fully funded it ourselves. So we have been approached by, some investment companies and some other brands. And so far we've said no, we just want to do it our way and have that full control. Supplements are very expensive to produce. The PGA and regulatory side in Australia is really full on. So again, very expensive. So, yes, we're doing it slow. We've gone into Mr. Vitamin. So we are in one Sydney group. And again, we've just gone in there and we just want to do it slow and do it our way. And, I've worked for big corporates where you've got big sales targets, and to meet those targets, sometimes you're not making the right decisions to do it. So it's really important to us to do it in the way that we've got control of, that we know is right. Every decision we make is about doing what we know is right for the brand, not only being, brand strategists and marketers.
Yeah, of course.
But also for the products and the women that we want to speak to. And I think the big part of it is our whole purpose is to make women feel more like themselves.
Yeah.
So where that will go, it might move into other phases of life because we still feel like there's other phases of life that aren't done properly.
Definitely, yes.
Done better.
Yep, all the key transitions for women, for girls, women, females.
And we've got lots of formulations ready to go. I think at the moment it's just doing it at the right time and doing it our way, which is a bit slower.
Yeah, that's why I asked. I'm curious because I don't know, really like the whole energy that the brand feels like. Obviously, brand strategy, very, very well done. But it doesn't feel like it's like if you don't take this, you're going to, it's a very different feeling, than all of those things. And I'm just like, yes, I'm interested.
The best thing for us is recommendation. If someone recommends somebody else, then
word of mouth.
That is, that's the ultimate way to grow.
Absolutely. So when you feel into what's next for the brand, is it introducing those new formulations for different transition points, or do you have other things that I'm sure you've got lots of ideas, but what's next? What's the next unfolding?
Yeah, we definitely want to start talking about women's sexual health. That's really important for us.
Yeah.
So that's one product we're looking at. Just some others. Probably the next couple will just be a couple of simpler products.
Yeah. Gotcha.
possibly not. Hopefully before Christmas, a couple of
nice
products to come out, and then next year, like we have a full pipeline. It's just when and how much they cost. Definitely, talking more about libido and sexual health.
Yeah.
Our next one off the block might be one for teenage girls.
Yeah.
Because it's women our age actually buying them for their daughters. And, I feel like any woman in their 40s who has a teenage girl in their household.
Yep.
Good luck. I've got 2 boys, so
that's one thing you won't have to deal with.
So, there's definitely, I think, we've got a GP is very keen on us to do something around pregnancy. I'm really passionate about post-pregnancy, the fatigue and depletion.
Talk about adrenal depletion. My girls are 12 months apart, and I look back and go, you would have been, my adrenals probably just checked out, I think, for a few years. That's what I went
back to full time, and both my boys are 8 months old. How?
Oh, goodness gracious.
So, there's a lot. There's, it's how deep do we want the range to be for women 40 plus? Because there's lots of products we could do, but equally, I don't want to take 20 tablets a day, and nobody else wants to either. So I think that's where we've got things like our boosters that are actually appropriate for any. Actually, all of our products can be used for any age. I mean, if you're in your 20s and you have really debilitating, you've got PMS.
Yes,
Show Up will work well for you as well.
Yeah.
It's just that we've really focused on this phase of life because we know that nobody is talking to anyone.
Yeah, absolutely. So good. It's so good. It's so beautiful to spend time with someone who is really, really living something that's purposeful and important to you, because I feel like that's the great invitation of this time in our lives as well. It's like, if we think about holistic health, I know we talk a lot about, sleep and nutrition and movement and all of those things, but purpose is just as important as that. And, doing something that you care about that's aligned to your value system. And I think that's definitely been part of my journey of waking up to the fact that some things that I was choosing to spend time on were so not aligned to my value system. I was just kind of doing them because I thought I should. And I just feel like the more women who are choosing purpose, choosing values, choosing, to be the steerer, that's not a very good word, but you know what I mean? Steering consciously.
You absolutely have to, because then what happens when your kids, if you've got children, what happens when they grow up? And you need, you've just got to find your next thing, because we live so much longer now, and you've got this whole other life that you need to get ready for, and that's exciting.
Yeah, it is.
Throw out everything that you've been in the past, because you can let all of that go and just be what you want to be.
Yeah. Ultimate freedom. That's what I feel like at the moment.
Yeah.
I have complete control over my time and everything that I invest. I'm like, ooh, exciting. Yeah. Actually, something that's been calling to me, my dad, I'm a Murphy by birth, and my dad is from Ireland, and I've never been to Europe. So I'm like, I think a solo travel adventure is on my list of, because I love being by myself in a new place where I can just put sand shoes on and head out the front door and go left or right, and just with no plan. That's how I spent a month in New York many years ago now, but by myself just after my dad died. And it was just it was such a time of the first time I hadn't been with my kids and my dad, because he lived with us. Yeah. But just, putting on shoes. And I remember I was just talking to my girls about this. I remember being on one of those double-decker buses in New York, and it was raining. I'd been to yoga at 8 o'clock that morning, and I was still out. I'd gone to a show and whatever. I still had my yoga mat with me, and I've got my yoga mat above my head on top of the bus because it's raining, and I'm just like, this is the best thing ever. It was just so, and I think it's really important to reconnect with those things that, open up that joy inside of us. Because, I think I got a bit a bit boring and a bit disconnected from my lighthearted.
You're just getting through each day.
Yeah, it's the daily
That's
grind.
okay, though. I mean, it's just what you have to do at the time. But I think it's just having that mentality that it's not always going to be like that. And yes, you might be in the thick of it. And yes, you've got a million, you've got little people and businesses and partners all crying out for your attention.
Yeah.
But it's not going to last forever.
No, it really doesn't. That's what I said to that friend.
Yeah, and your purpose changes. You don't have to find one purpose. No. That is the rest of your life. Your purpose can change at any point. And that if that's your purpose with little people and family and, I don't know, like for me, major launches and work. And that all happens, but then also be open to change and open to having, my purpose for the next 12 months might be this, but I could change my purpose after that. Who knows? But it's just being open and discussing and challenging your brain. So, I've been just getting back into reading. I mean, I studied biology and ecology at university, and who knows how I ended up where I ended up. But
I know, right? I'm
really enjoying getting back into some of those books, and got back into some of the yoga philosophy books a couple of months ago. And even when I studied yoga, I wasn't that big into the philosophy behind it. Whereas now I feel like my brain's got more space to think about that. So, it's just, again, I'm finding space to find interest in different things. So I'm just going with it.
Yeah. Follow the spark of inspiration. Exactly. I love that feeling of feeling really engaged with something that's new. And I don't know why, but I decided to study just a Cert 4 in training and assessment, which I thought would be like an absolute breeze. Oh my God, it's more work than a bloody master's. But it's really good because it's something that I've taught and created courses my entire life. Like I've always sort of been in communications or education or something like that. But the actual principles of instructional design, and particularly how to help people with literacy and learning and numeracy gaps, and it's all new. And I can feel my brain going, ooh, exciting, like rewiring or unwiring or whatever, like challenging what I thought, or I love that feeling of, my dad was very much like that too. Like he was always trying something new, starting something new, reading something new at 91. He was still very engaged and growing his brain. And in the end he said to me when he was palliating, he's like, well, if I thought that my body would wear out before my brain did, I might not have taken so much good use of my, good care of my brain. I was like, well, I still think that's preferable.
That's right.
Exactly.
And I think there's so much pleasure in learning something that is just out of interest. I went back to uni and did masters in marketing, and there's not as much pleasure in that as doing something that is completely different to your everyday.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I would encourage people to do. If something drives your interest, I'm reading a book I've been wanting to read for years and years. And I forgot about it.
Yeah.
Which is The Secret Life of Trees. And it is
amazing.
It's just about how smart trees are and how they talk to each other. And it's just beautiful. And I just, I'm getting so much pleasure out of something that had been on my list many, many years ago. And, I've just found something different, but I'm learning, and it's not to do with my day to day. It's not about learning.
It's not attached. Yeah.
Deal with my kids but, learning for pleasure is really important.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, the book I just read, The Upgrade, which
I want to read that too.
It's an amazing book.
Yeah.
I highly recommend. She talks about how important connection and learning new stuff is for your brain health. So like overwhelmingly longevity is connected to connection, and that, doing things new, challenging your brain, keeping that cognitive processing machine still working. Like we said, lose it or use it. Use it or lose it, I mean.
There's got to be things you find interesting, not just
exactly.
a learning thing.
For all of those beautiful people out there going, I need to check out these supplements. They sound like they're just what I need, which is me including. Where can we find women and yourself online?
So we're at airwomen.com.au. So we're mostly sold online at the moment. We're just starting to talk to distribution places. So we're in Mr. Vitamins, which is a Sydney chain of 5 stores. But other than that, online at the moment. And that is the best place to find us for, community and talking about as much as we like to talk about. Sometimes we talk about some random things, but it's all
new stuff. That's good for brains. Thank you so much, Lisa. I will put all of the links that you've just mentioned in the show notes as well. It's been really lovely to connect and learn more about your journey. I feel like, it's a funny reminder, isn't it, when you talk to other people that lives have gone in this sort of seemingly disconnected, but then come back to a perfect purpose point.
All roads lead to somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. It's so lovely to chat to you.
Bye-bye. Thanks so much for listening into today's episode. If you love the show, as I hope you do, please take the time to subscribe on your favourite pod listening platform and rate and review. And for bonus points, if you have a friend or someone who popped to mind as you were listening to this episode, why not hit the share link wherever you're listening and send them a little love bomb. Like, listen to this. Did you know this is normal? I really, really, really would love to get these beautiful stories into the hearts and ears and minds of so many more midlife mavens. And your help spreading the love is truly, truly appreciated. Thank you so much. I'm Kylie Patchett, your host, and have a spectacular day.